welcome back to the newly formed Camelot's Country Sports channel. Once again, I'm down at Camelot's Airgun Club and we're going to be doing the second part of the QYS pellet test. Today we are testing the QYS streamlines pellets in the 8.48 grains. We're going to be doing this with 3 different rifles again. 2 I believe do have the same barrel now. I had a slight problem with the HW110 and the BSA. Afterwards I found that the BSA had a leaking gauge and the HW110 was dropping power, which is quite a common fault from what I've heard. So they're both in getting fixed. The rifles that we are going to be using still though is the Wolverine, that's still going strong. We've got a Ripley rifle AR5S HFT version, and we're going to be using a HW100 that's been kindly lent us by Kerry Mullins from the club. Right, so we're going to do the first grouping now. It's 30 yards using the QYS streamlines in 8.48 grains using the Wolverine. Oh, that last one was the flyer, but it's a good, not bad group that. Right, so now we're going to try 5 shots with the Ripley rifle AR5S in the HFT stock at 30 yards. Let's see how we get on with the streamlines. Yeah, Ripley likes them. So now we're going to try the HW100 in 177 using the streamlines at 30 yards. As I said, this was kindly lent to us by Casper down at the club. Lovely looking rifle. So we're going to give that a go at 30 yards. What's he doing here? Another good grouping with that. Right, so now we've done all the 30-yard testing. I've aimed directly at the bull on each one. We're not going for the bull basically, we're just going to go for the group now. The winds are slightly left the right breeze today, but it's not too much like it was on the last video, so the groups are slightly tighter from what I've just seen through the scope. We're going to try the Wolverine now at 50 yards and see what kind of grouping we get with the QYSs out at 50. Not bad at all for 50, quite impressed with that. Right, so now we're going to try the QYSs with the Ripley rifle out to 50 yards and see what kind of grouping we get with these. Right, so I'm actually going to take 6 shots with a Ripley because I got my mil dots wrong then, so I'm just going to adjust my aim point, and obviously we'll go for a different, try and get the grouping a bit better, but I'll show you when we bring the targets in. Right, so I'm not going to lie, that's not the greatest group, the Ripley out at 50 yards, but we all know that different barrels like different pellets. We'll see what it's like when we bring them all in, so we'll try the HW100 now. Right, so now we're going to try the HW100 out at 50 yards using the QYSs and see how we get on with this one. That's not a bad group at all, to be fair with that. I'm quite impressed with that. Right guys, so these are the results at 30 yard and 50 yard. So I was obviously aiming at the same point. I didn't go for obviously I did go for the bull every time, but I mean, I've not readjusted my zero. I've just left to see what the kind of grouping we've got. So the HW100, inside the thumbnail, Wolverine, exactly the same apart from one flyer. Then the Ripley, it's quite acceptable I'd say. Then the HW100, it's not too bad at 50. Wolverine at 50, but one flyer. Ripley at 50, and one flyer again. I think it's going to be a hard one to judge this without getting a tape measure out, to be brutally honest. I mean, the 30s all look pretty much the same apart from the flyer there. I think it's going to be a tape measure jobby. So it looks like we've got a tie between the Ripley and the Wolverine. I'm not going to do a shoot off because they're both great rifles in equal rights. The 50-yard group was 1 inch wide by 1/4 of an inch. Both of them, basically. There was nothing in it, unless we went right down to a specific mill, but I'm not going to go that far with it. So yeah, that's basically using the streamlines, QYS streamlines in 177 at 8.48 grains. Right guys, thank you for watching the video on Camelot's Country Sports channel. I'm going to say that the Ripley won, because to be fair guys, it is my favourite rifle. I've had it for some number of years now and I just absolutely love it. I'm going to be shooting a competition with it down here on Sunday as well in HFT, so I'm going to see how I get on with that and everything. But yeah, thanks again for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to try and get out and do a bit of ratting hopefully, or around the squirrel feeder in this next couple of weeks, because I know I've not done many hunting ones recently, but the weather's been absolute babber down here and everywhere. You know, we had the floods and obviously we had a frost yet and stuff, and that's about it really. So I look forward to seeing you all again.